Since the dawn of humanity, we have carried a deep drive within us. A hunger for safety. A hunger for recognition. And often, a hunger to dominate. For early humans, domination was not abstract. It was survival. To protect your tribe meant to keep others out. To expand your territory meant more food, more mates, more safety for your children. And if you did not dominate, you risked being dominated. In this primal world, power was life. Domination in nature is everywhere. Lions fight over pride lands. Wolves establish hierarchies. And humans were no different. We rose by forming tribes, by choosing leaders, by building hierarchies. Leadership brought order, but also temptation. Because once you could command others, why stop at enough? The instinct to survive soon became the instinct to expand. Domination was no longer only about feeding your people, it was about status, legacy, and immortality. To conquer was to be remembered. To build an empire was to defy death. With agriculture came surplus. With surplus came armies. And with armies came empires. History unfolded as one vast contest of domination. Mesopotamia. Rome. China. The Ottomans. The British. Each empire justified itself with stories. Stories of divine right. Stories of chosen peoples. Stories of manifest destiny. Conquest was not only practical. It was sacred. Yet, every empire, no matter how vast, eventually fell. Why? Because the very forces that made them rise always turned against them. Expansion created overreach. Wealth bred corruption. Power sparked resistance. Resources ran dry. Empires, like living organisms, were born, they grew, they peaked, they decayed, and they died. But now, the story has changed. Today, domination is no longer written in stone walls and marching legions. It is written in circuits, in algorithms, in code. We are entering the age of exponential technology. And the old hunger for domination has found new tools. Exponential technologies grow not slowly, but explosively. Artificial intelligence. Biotechnology. Quantum computing. Energy systems. Networks that circle the planet in milliseconds. And unlike armies, these technologies expand invisibly. They don't need ships or horses. They don't stop at borders. They scale across the entire globe at the speed of light. In this new era, empires do not look like Rome or Britain. They look like digital platforms. They look like surveillance networks. They look like corporations whose influence stretches deeper into our lives than any king or emperor could dream. These are empires of data. Empires of influence. Empires of perception. And just like the empires of old, they are driven by the same ancient forces, the need for security, the fear of vulnerability, the desire for recognition, and the hunger for expansion. But domination has changed form. It is no longer only physical. It is psychological. It is informational. It is biological. Empires now expand not only over land, but over minds. Narratives are shaped by algorithms. Reality itself becomes a battlefield. Exponential technology also accelerates conflict. Artificial intelligence makes war faster, cheaper, and less predictable. Biotech opens doors not only to healing, but to engineered pandemics. Cyber war allows one state to dominate another without a single soldier crossing a border. In the past, conquest took centuries. Today, an empire could rise in a decade. Or collapse in a moment. And just as in the past, empire creates hierarchy. But now, inequality grows at exponential speed. Those with access to advanced technologies surge ahead. Those without are left behind. We may be entering an age of techno-feudalism, where expansion is not about land or nations, but about creating classes of humans. The enhanced and the unenhanced. The connected and the excluded. Domination becomes vertical as much as horizontal. There is another danger. Empires always fell from overreach. And exponential empires are more prone to overreach than any before. They consume resources at incredible speed. They destabilize environments. They accelerate inequality until societies fracture. They risk feedback loops, AI building AI, biotech creating new life forms, that move faster than human comprehension. This is empire not just as power, but as runaway acceleration. So where does this line take us? From tribal domination, to empires of land, to empires of information, to the empires of the future. What will they look like? Perhaps one global empire will emerge, corporate, governmental, or even artificial. A single power dominating the world with absolute reach. It could bring stability, but at the cost of freedom and diversity. A monoculture that risks collapse if its system fails. This is the empire of one. Or perhaps empire expansion collides with exponential technology in catastrophic ways. Arms races spiral out of control. Ecological collapse undermines civilization. Instead of one ruler, no empire survives, humanity fragments, and falls back into chaos. This is the empire of none. But there is another path. The empire of all. A possibility where humanity breaks the ancient cycle. Where we use technology not to dominate, but to expand cooperation. To create governance not of conquest, but of stewardship. To make expansion about wisdom, creativity, and consciousness, not about control. This is the hardest path, but the only one that can last. The line is clear. In the past, domination was survival. In history, domination built empires. Today, domination is exponential, invisible, and global. Tomorrow, it could either enslave us, destroy us, or evolve us. The question is whether we will remain bound to the ancient cycle of empire and collapse, or whether, finally, we will write a new story. A story where expansion means not conquering others, but expanding what it means to be human. Every empire falls. But humanity still has a choice. Will we fall with empire once again? Or will we transcend it? And here is where each of us enters the story. Because the future is not only decided by empires, corporations, or states. It is shaped by the millions of choices we make every day. We can learn to see through the narratives that seek to control us, to question the stories of domination dressed as progress. We can demand that technology serves people, not power. We can choose cooperation over conquest in our own lives, in how we relate, in how we work, in how we create. We can cultivate wisdom, not just knowledge, so that exponential tools do not outrun our capacity to use them well. At the personal level, we can slow down in a world that accelerates. Protect our attention from endless manipulation. Reclaim our sense of meaning from systems that would reduce us to consumers or data points. Build communities rooted not in domination, but in trust. And insist that expansion means becoming more fully human, not just more powerful. The story of empire is as old as humanity. But its ending has not yet been written. For the first time in history, we may have the tools not just to expand domination, but to transcend it. The choice belongs to all of us. Every empire falls. But maybe, together, we don't have to.